I've been really enjoying The Pit lately. You know, that TV show about an ER? And it inspired me to talk about something that I've personally gone through recently, and I think a lot of other people go through as well every single day. And that's facing the eventual loss of a loved one. And I want to go through a couple of different things I learned while watching The Pit, and also some of the things I had experienced on my own journey. So, first of all, let me say I know this is a deeply personal and sensitive issue. I'm sharing my journey, the relationship you have with your loved one, your ability to cope at the time, the ability to manage things financially, time off work, etc. It's different for all of us. So, all you can do is do your best, do what's right for you, and hopefully you'll end up with a happy place where the ending can come and you can be okay about it in the end. Let's get right into my journey and what I learned from The Pit. Pit is a special program. It's run over a series of episodes where we get to see the buildup of family issues. And one such issue was a father with dementia who was ill in the hospital. He had a DNR, he had a POA, and his daughter and son were there to support him. The first point is understanding the decision-making process.
Your dad has an advance directive expressing his wishes, which says that IV fluids and medications are okay. No artificial life support, no CPR.
He doesn't want a bunch of machines keeping him alive.
Do either of you have durable power of attorney for healthcare?
Yes.
We both do.
Then we will continue with oxygen and IV fluids and antibiotics. But if his lungs stop working, we're not going to place a tube in his windpipe for a breathing machine.
When you're faced with the need to make decisions regarding a person's health care, especially concerning their preferences for medical interventions, it's crucial to gather as much information as possible. And there's an official way to do this. First thing you need is potentially a DNR, and that's something the patient and doctor can do in the moment when they're in the hospital. DNRs are kind of moment in time. Do not resuscitate means no CPR will be given if their breathing stops or their heart stops. And that's important to know, right? Because that's the person saying, when I'm ready to go, let me go. The POA, or power of attorney, is a different kind of document. It's broader in its function, and a medical POA, or power of attorney, is in use or in action until the end of that person's life. So there's a couple of important things to know about medical POAs, depending on where you live. One is that they may need to be signed by a notary or a lawyer, which means you need to do them in advance. Another reason to do them in advance is exactly what happens in this episode of The Pit. The family does have a POA, and the father has dementia. Meaning, if they had to do a POA that day, they'd have difficulty. One, finding a notary or a lawyer to help them, but more importantly, if lawyers need to be involved and the patient has dementia, not all lawyers will think of that person as competent to sign. So they may not allow a POA to be completed. So my big point here is, on my journey, my mother and I did all the POAs, financial and medical, very early in her process, so that she was competent, she could sign, and those documents were in place when I needed them. Because what a POA does is allow you to act on your loved one's behalf when they can't speak for themselves. And the goal is that you're following their requirements, their values, and their wishes, not your own. So that generally starts with a conversation. And I've got videos on both of these topics, starting a conversation and creating a POA. And maybe, just maybe, that loved one is you. Maybe you yourself are facing these aging issues. In fact, I have a POA and I'm in pretty good health and I'm not that old. But having a POA is for anything bad that could happen. So it's not a bad idea, if you're doing one for your parents, that you also do one for yourself. Then you decide who's going to speak on my behalf. So a trusted friend can do that. A family relative, a child, a parent, anyone can do that. You just need to make sure that you are confident that they understand your wishes. So engage in an open conversation with your family and also with your healthcare professionals. A little tip I have is your originals of those documents, the signed ink version, they might say, should be at home in a safe place where you can find them. But keep a digital copy of that same signed document on your phone. Maybe email it to yourself if you need to, or keep it on a file on your phone so that you can share that with medical people as needed. If your parent's going to their general practitioner or maybe another kind of doctor, you need to make sure they also have these documents on file. And for me, that was as simple as emailing the administration. When I would go to see the doctor with my mother, I would just make sure, do you have those documents on file? If they said no, I'd say, give me your email, I'll send them right now. And let's remember the point of these documents. It's to make sure that the quality of life and the quantity of life are maintained. You want your parent to live a long time. I want to live a long time, but I also want to live a good life, not a life filled with pills and pain and processes and procedures I don't want. So this is the moment to decide where you value that line in the sand that only you can decide what you want for yourself, and then your parents can do the same for them. And then we hold that line when the bad thing happens and emotions strike. This is our guidepost.
But pneumonia is treatable.
Most of the time it is.
But if he can get better in a week, then put him on a machine.
That's not what he wanted.
Okay. Well, this is a decision that does not need to be made right now. Why don't you think about it?
It can help you through the emotional strain, the financial strain, and also the strain of professionals who need to know in that moment, what are we going to do? And the Pitt shows something else I think is really valuable, the emotional struggles. Your parent might have things they want you to do at the end of their life or before the end of their life, and they may be hard for you to agree to, hard for you to accept, and hard for you to advocate when it comes time to do that. And that emotional whirlwind in you can create a problem when you need to do what they want, not what you want.
If things get worse, sometimes allowing for a comfortable natural death can be the most humane path.
All I can say is doing your best, talking it through with the doctor, and having that good conversation early on with your parent can give you the trust that you can do what they asked you to do. And if you can, don't be alone. Find a friend, a family member, or just someone in the hospital to help you. Maybe there's a chaplain there. I was alone, and I can say it is a horrific feeling. And for many caregivers, experiencing a similar journey, grappling with the idea of letting go while ensuring their loved one is cared for in a way that aligns with that loved one's values is one of the most stressful things you're going to do in your life. Shift your focus to what brings joy and comfort to your parent. Engage in activities that spark happiness. Along the way, sit with your parent, hold their hand, and just be with them, talk to them, share a happy thought. When my dad was in the hospital years ago, it was a rather depressing place. I think hospitals hadn't gotten the memo about, the location that the patient's sitting in, what they can see is important. So I brought in cards and posters and funny things and games for my dad and I to play while he was in the hospital. And that moment of having some flowers next to his bed and some other things makes everyone a little bit happier. So the idea of having flowers and balloons or whatever makes your family happy, pictures from the kids, it's all helpful in making them feel surrounded by love. And that's really nice for you too. Even if your relationship with your parent or loved one wasn't always great, try to make that ending moment a good one for both of you. You won't regret that. I love this great advice from the Pitt. Let's listen to the doctor share some great advice with this family.
I love you. Thank you. I forgive you. Please forgive me.
And for yourself, as a caregiver or as a person who's advocating for their parent, make sure you're finding peace in the process. Peace for your loved one and peace for yourself. While this journey may be filled with challenges, it's essential to find moments of peace. Practice mindfulness, gratitude, and reflection. Celebrate the life and love you've shared, and remember the essence of your relationship transcends the physical. You'll remember your loved one or parent long after they're gone. Make sure you have that sense of peace and purpose and happiness as much as you can, no matter what your past relationship is, because it will help you heal. And finally, you sometimes just need to let things go. I was not able to fix all the problems of my mother's environment right before she died. And I have to say, it really stressed me out. But I did my best, and I have to make peace with it. If you're doing whatever you can, that's your best. So don't beat yourself up after the fact. Don't create long-term stress by regretting every day something that's in the past. And if you're not sure if your parent needs a POA or what a DNR is, or even how to start that conversation, check out these videos. Navigating these decisions is never an easy journey, but with compassion for yourself and your loved one, you can find a path that honors their journey and creates a new chapter for your journey. And remember, you're not alone. Find help or find help here, because if you're looking for support, you're in the right place. And I'll see you next time on Aging in Grace.